June 10, 1912. In the small, quiet town of Villisca, Iowa, the Moore family home sat still in the morning sun. But inside that modest white house, something unspeakable had happened. By the time neighbors came knocking, 8 people were already dead, murdered in their sleep with an axe. No one heard screams. No one saw a thing. And over 100 years later, no one has ever been convicted. Hello everyone. Welcome to the True Crime Archives by Charcher. For newcomers to this channel, if you love true stories, this channel was made for you. We post true crime stories they thought they buried every day. If this interests you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you always get the latest content. Your support means a lot. Don't forget to hit the like button. As I've told you before, the like button is a simple gesture for you. But for me it's something huge because it helps YouTube know that people like my content and shows it to more new people. So please don't forget to support me by hitting that like button. Villisca was the kind of town where everyone knew everyone. Life was peaceful, the streets quiet, and most doors were left unlocked. Josiah Moore, or Joe, as he was known, was a respected businessman. He lived with his wife Sarah and their 4 children, 11-year-old Herman, 10-year-old Catherine, 7-year-old Boyd, and 5-year-old Paul. On Sunday, June 9th, the Moore family spent the day at church, where Sarah helped organize the Children's Day program. That evening, the 2 Stillinger sisters, Lena, age 12, and Ina, age 8, were invited to sleep over at the Moore house. Nothing about that day seemed unusual. Until the following morning. Around 7:30 a.m., the Moore's neighbor, Mary Peckham, noticed the house was unusually quiet. The curtains were drawn. No one was doing chores. No one had stepped outside. Concerned, she knocked. No answer. She called Joe's brother Ross, who arrived with a spare key. What he found inside would become one of America's most infamous unsolved crimes. All 8 occupants had been murdered. The killer used Joe Moore's own axe, striking each victim in the head multiple times. The force was so great it left gouges in the ceilings. Most of the victims were still in bed. No signs of struggle. No robbery. Just silent, brutal execution. There were strange details. The killer had covered all the mirrors in the house, draped clothing over furniture, left a plate of uneaten food on the table, and beside the axe, wrapped in a towel, was a slab of raw bacon. Even more unsettling, investigators found a cigarette and signs that someone had been lying in the attic, possibly waiting for the family to return home that night. But in 1912, proper crime scene procedure was virtually non-existent. Neighbors and townspeople walked through the house before police arrived. Evidence was touched, moved, likely destroyed. In the early days of the investigation, suspicion fell on Frank F. Jones, a powerful businessman and state senator. Joe Moore had once worked for Jones, selling farm equipment, before quitting to start his own rival business and taking a major John Deere account with him. To keep up with this series and even more interesting true crime stories that never came to light until now, hit the red subscribe button. Now back to the story. The 2 men were bitter rivals, and rumors in town suggested Joe may have been romantically involved with Jones's daughter-in-law. Some believed Jones had hired a hitman, an ex-convict named William Blackie Mansfield, to carry out the murders. Mansfield had a history. He had been suspected of murdering his own family with an axe, and other axe murders followed a similar pattern to Villisca's. But Mansfield had an alibi. Time cards from his job confirmed he was in Illinois on the night of the murders. The theory lost steam. Years passed. Then came Reverend George Kelly, a traveling preacher with a history of mental illness and erratic behavior. Kelly had been in Villisca the night of the murders. He even attended the same church service the Moore family had. Days later, he began sending strange letters to investigators and eventually confessed to the crime. He claimed voices told him to kill, that he had taken the axe from the shed and murdered the family one by one. But his story changed under questioning. His confession contradicted key details, and many believed it had been coerced. At trial, Kelly's defense team argued he was mentally unstable and that his confession was unreliable. The jury couldn't agree, resulting in a hung jury. At a second trial, he was acquitted. With Kelly free, the case once again went cold. Over the years, investigators began noticing patterns, similar murders in nearby towns, before and after the Villisca killings. Families slaughtered in their sleep, curtains drawn, food left out. No robbery, no witnesses. In Ellsworth, Kansas, in Colorado Springs, in Monmouth, Illinois, and in Paola, Kansas, families had been killed in nearly identical ways. Was Villisca part of a larger killing spree? Could the murderer have been a transient, traveling from town to town by train? Some believed a serial killer was responsible, someone choosing small towns, slipping in silently, and leaving chaos behind. But with no national law enforcement network in 1912, no DNA testing, and no centralized records, the murders were never connected officially. Each town investigated its own tragedy, with no coordination or shared evidence. Back in Villisca, one detail still haunts investigators. Unlike the others, 12-year-old Lena Stillinger was found partially out of bed, her nightgown bunched around her waist. Her arm showed signs of a struggle. She may have woken up and seen her killer. Doctors concluded she wasn't sexually assaulted, but her body had clearly been repositioned after death. Many now believe Lena was the only victim who didn't die instantly, and perhaps the only one who glimpsed the killer's face. Modern efforts to solve the case, including attempts to test the axe for DNA, have failed. The murder weapon, now housed in Villisca's museum, has been handled by so many people over the years that it's unlikely to yield any forensic breakthroughs. Behavioral profilers who've studied the crime say it was personal, not random. The excessive overkill, the care taken to cover faces and mirrors, the eerie calm of the crime scene. It suggests rage and shame. But still, no one knows for sure. Today, the Moore House stands as a tourist attraction, and reportedly, one of the most haunted homes in the country. Paranormal investigators claim to hear whispers, footsteps, and voices. Some visitors say they've been scratched. Others claim to see shadow figures. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, the real horror of Villisca is what we don't know. Who took the lives of 8 innocent people that night? A jealous rival? A mad preacher? A nameless drifter? More than a century later, the mystery remains unsolved, and the questions hang in the air, unanswered. What really happened in that house? While an entire town slept? Like, comment, and subscribe to the True Crimes Archives by Charcher, where every crime has a witness, and every truth will be told for more true crime stories. See you in the next episode, and thanks for watching.